Here we go. Jeff Reed, 35-yard attempt. Looking to tie this one up. 1:07 remaining. Gardocki to hold it. Lauren to snap from 35 yards away. He's got it. We are tied at 17. Just over a minute to play here in Cincinnati. Bill Cowher's team able to get down the field for the game-tying field goal.
It's a big-time kick from Jeff Reed. They iced him, but he's able to keep his poise and knock it through to tie this game up. So you might ask, did Marvin Lewis squander one of his timeouts? Definitely felt it was worth it trying to ice Jeff Reed, but you're still going to get the ball with good time on the clock.
Time for an update. We head to New York and JB.
Ian and Solomon, the man that Shannon Sharp likes to call Pocket Hercules. Maurice Jones-Drew, 5-yard TD run, 8th consecutive game with a rushing touchdown. That is a rookie record. Kansas City only up by 5. Ian and Solomon.
So some drama still left in the early starts here on CBS. We'll keep you updated. Cincinnati can clinch a playoff berth with a victory here and a Kansas City win over Jacksonville, and then they need a Denver loss to San Francisco. That's later today.
What you hope for here if you're Cincinnati, you want to get excellent field position, so you want to count on a really good return to set the table for Carson Palmer.
Jeff Reed will kick it off. Glenn Holt is the deep man. Rookie out of Kentucky. 1:03 remaining on the clock. On the kick by Reed, here is Holt. Carries him to the goal line. Will take it out. Holt makes a move. Stays on his feet across the 30-yard line. 33-yard return. NFL Today update. JB in New York.
Ian Solomon, take a look. Where was Detroit like this all season long? Take a look. John Kitna hooking up with Mike Williams. 21-yard strike. Good. 2-pointer, no good. Up by 5 over Dallas. If Dallas loses, Philly wins the East. And, by the way, the Giants have clinched the postseason berth. Ian and Solomon.
All right, JB, thanks very much. The kicker for the Bengals, Shane Graham. His long this season is 51 yards. Will Carson Palmer put him in a position for a game-winning field goal? Drive starts at the 33. Tied at 17. Here's Palmer in the pocket. Throwing. High throw. It's incomplete. Houshmandzadeh and the veteran Tyrone Carter matched up along the sideline.
First of all, you have to protect your quarterback if you're going to get inside that target line, which is right around the 35-yard line. That's where Carson Palmer and company needs to get the ball in order for Shane Graham to feel like he can connect consistently.
2nd and 10 now from the 33. 50 seconds remain. Here's Palmer. Protection holds up. Uncorks a deep ball. Palmer. It's caught. Chris Henry. Huge play for the Bengals.
Carson saying, now, if you're offensive lineman, you've been jumping all game. Settle down. No movement on that offensive line so he can down the ball.
Palmer spikes it with 22. Carson Palmer has gone over 4,000 yards passing, the first Bengal to do it. And he cashes in on a big play to Henry down the middle.
Working against Brian McFadden. We told you that the Pittsburgh Steelers secondary was very vulnerable and prone to giving up big plays. We talked about it last night with Bill Cowher, and I think they're going up against 3 of the best wide receivers on the same team in Chris Henry, TJ Houshmandzadeh, and Chad Johnson. Carson Palmer able to take advantage of it. They took their one shot and were able to connect on it on this final drive.
4 catches, 124 yards, and a touchdown. Play clock just ran out.
Cincinnati, 5-yard penalty.
So a mistake here for the Bengals, not getting sorted out on time after the spike. And they'll back it up 5 yards. They were looking at a 43-yard attempt in that range.
Well, here's what you can't do. You can't start panicking over that and start complaining. I think as the Cincinnati Bengals, you've got to look forward. Be proactive to the next situation. You're going to get an opportunity to kick the ball, but right now it's 2nd and 15. Try to get more yards and set yourself up for the game-winning field goal.
22 seconds remain. The officials still huddling up. Here's Carollo.
Correction. Cincinnati called timeout prior to the delay of game. It's their third and final timeout. 30-second timeout.
So the 5 yards will be given back to the Bengals. And Marvin Lewis is now out of timeouts. It was a bit bizarre because nobody was moving for Cincinnati on offense, and the play clock hit 0. Carson Palmer's looking around. What happened?
I still think you should have been in a position to run another play, and you do not have to squander your final timeout.
22 seconds left. Line of scrimmage is the 20-yard line. Right now, they are staring at a 38-yard field goal attempt for Shane Graham. They'd like to get it to the middle of the field. Right now, it's lined up on the left hash. No timeouts remaining for the Bengals. Possible playoff berth on the line in Bill Cowher's potential last game as Pittsburgh Steelers head man. And Palmer will go right down.
Now you've got to get up, and now you've got to spike the ball, and then you run your kicker out.
Clock is not moving.
Much to the dismay of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
For the chat here, was that a QB sack? Now the clock is rolling. And Bill Carollo will sort this out.
Please reset the game clock to 12 seconds on the incomplete pass.
So 12 seconds.
If you're Shane Graham, you're thinking back to the missed opportunity to convert on the extra point because of the poor snap from Brad St. Louis, and now you have the opportunity to set your team up for another win, the 9th on the season for the Cincinnati Bengals, and just an opportunity to advance into the postseason.
Complete heartache last week in a loss to Denver, 24-23. A bad snap on the extra point that would have tied it. This will be a 39-yard field goal attempt for Shane Graham. 12 seconds remain. We are deadlocked at 17. Bengals need a win if they have any hope of going back to the playoffs in consecutive years. 39-yard attempt for Graham. Larson to hold it. St. Louis to snap it. And Pittsburgh will use a timeout. Some gamesmanship. We saw it from Lewis earlier, and now we'll see it from Bill Cowher.
Timeout, Pittsburgh.
And there it is. Bill Cowher. 15 years as the head coach of the Steelers. A decision expected possibly this coming week on his future. Well, a review of last week. Pushmanzada a touchdown, and then on the extra point that would have tied it at 24. Bad snap. They couldn't handle it. Bengals fall 24-23, and that's what put them in this position this week where they need a win and some help.
And with that kind of play, it has to bring about some high anxiety for all the members involved on this field goal team. But you have to be able to sweep that aside and still go out and execute.
This is for the lead. 39-yard attempt for Shane Graham. Larson the holder. Snap is good. The kick on its way, and no good! He missed it! Shane Graham unable to convert.
So the ice doesn't melt when Bill Cowher calls the timeout. Shane Graham fails to drive it through the uprights. Ball sails wide right.
It was a corkscrew for Graham. Bill Cowher coaches right to the final gun.
What a game.
It has been that kind of season for the Cincinnati Bengals. A team that believed they were a legitimate Super Bowl contender when this season started. And now they head to overtime against their rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So many missed opportunities. That pretty much tells you about the Cincinnati Bengals season. Had an opportunity to win in the heat in Tampa, in the cold in Denver just last week. Games even in between when you had a 21-point lead on the San Diego Chargers here at home, allowing them to come back. So many other opportunities to avoid this situation where you really could have already cleared it and made it into the postseason.
Coin toss for overtime.
Gentlemen, we'll play one overtime period. Sudden death. First team that scores will win the game. All the timing will be the same as the fourth quarter timing rules. Pittsburgh, who's going to make the call? 51 is going to make the call heads. Same coin. The helmet is a head. The logo is a tail. Heads is go. You won the toss. You want the ball. Which end do you want to kick from? Stay right where you're at. Pittsburgh has won the toss, elected to receive.
If you're Pittsburgh, you have to feel real good about that because the last couple of possessions for your offense, you went right down the field and put points on the board.
Cincinnati's playoff chances are on life support as we head to overtime.
The game is on the line.
Company. That was the quote from Bill Cowher. If the Bengals can't go to the playoffs, that's going to make us happy. Marvin Lewis on the other end. His team needs a win. A Kansas City victory over Jacksonville and a Denver loss to San Francisco later on to get into the postseason. Tied at 17. Shane Graham missing on a 39-yard field goal with just seconds remaining. That would have put Cincinnati in front and would have potentially kept them alive for a playoff berth. Instead, overtime. Sean Morey and Santonio Holmes are deep. And Graham will kick it off after Pittsburgh won the toss. Steelers have moved the ball all day. They have 404 yards of offense. So here we go. Graham and the kicking team was in the middle of it last week in the loss to Denver. And they're in the middle of it once again here against Pittsburgh. Opening kick of overtime. And here is Holmes. Takes it out of the end zone. Holmes able to carry it across the 20-yard line to the 22. That's where Pittsburgh will open up this drive. Caleb Miller makes the play on special teams. Ben Roethlisberger, 18 of 27, 213 yards and an interception. Overtime records. Pittsburgh 15-11-2, their last win in OT coming in 2002. Cincinnati 14-9, their last win coming against the Steelers 5 years ago yesterday. Will it be a happy new year for the Bengals? Roethlisberger and the Steelers would love to celebrate here at Paul Brown Stadium with a win to wrap up their season. Parker on a stop and go. And Willie Parker picks up 5 yards on first down.
And right now, if you're the Cincinnati Bengals defense, you have to collect your focus even after the missed field goal by Shane Graham. Rally your focus and come together and be able to make plays, because sometimes you tend to think back to what could have been, but right now you've got to make a play.
2nd and 5. We're just underway in overtime. Motion man Miller for Pittsburgh. Roethlisberger wants to throw it. Pumps it. Roethlisberger up the middle and slides down across the first down line.
Looks like it's going to be good for a first down. Ben Roethlisberger, we talked about his mobility. I think he's seeing the field really well, and he's playing well in terms of making good decisions with the football, not forcing it into coverage, but tucking it and running it, forcing this defense to react.
New set of downs to work with at the 33. Jeff Reed of the Steelers, his long field goal this season is 50 yards. Here comes the rush. Roethlisberger on a hot read. He's got Holmes down the sideline. Santonio Holmes diving. Touchdown, Pittsburgh. It's over. The Pittsburgh Steelers end the Bengals' playoff chances with a bang.
And I've said it, after the missed field goal by Shane Graham, sometimes you're dejected, sometimes.
Touchdown, that's the end of the game.
Sometimes after such a play, you're dejected and you take the field and you're depressed. Instead of focusing on the moment, you're still thinking back to what could have happened. And you could see the play by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bill Cowher in what may be his final game as head coach of the Steelers, with a Bill Cowher-like victory in Cincinnati.
It's just a quick slant, three-step drop, and then you see the poor angle. Once Madieu Williams missed the tackle, the speed of Santonio Holmes, he will not be denied as he lunges for that pylon, is able to get the ball into the end zone. Comes underneath the cornerback, Torrey James, and then the only guy who had a chance to get him was number 40, Madieu Williams.
67 yards for the touchdown. Holmes, the rookie out of Ohio State. Roethlisberger and the Steelers with smiles on their faces as they wrap up the season, a disappointing season at 8-8. The defending Super Bowl champions will head into the offseason with a win over the Bengals that knocked Cincinnati out of the playoff picture.
6 straight wins here at Paul Brown Stadium for Bill Cowher and his Pittsburgh Steelers.
And if it is the final game for Bill Cowher as head coach of the Steelers, it will be a memorable ending. 15 years leading this Steelers franchise. Our final score in overtime, Steelers 23, the Bengals 17. Coming up, game 2 of the NFL doubleheader. For Solomon Wilcox and our entire crew, this is Ian Eagle. So long from Paul Brown Stadium. This is the NFL on CBS.